Donald Trump is ruthlessly going after John Deere.
200% tariff on John Deere imports.
Yeah, the company that was supposed to be the best friend of farmers is now leaving them without help when they need it the most. Farmers feel betrayed, but they are not alone. Remember when John Deere said they are moving production to Mexico?
John Deere says it's moving some of its production to Mexico.
Factory workers in the U.S. have been at war with their company ever since. To be honest, it seems like this could be the end for John Deere. But trust me, this is just the start of it. See, that is actually just one issue. The rabbit hole goes way deeper, and we all know how big the farming industry is, which means this will eventually affect us all. You and me? So what's happening exactly? How the heck did we get here? I mean, this is a very big company with a very good name, and it is a bit surprising because John Deere is actually a company that has roots dating back to the late 1830s, when a blacksmith from Vermont named John Deere moved to Grand Detour, Illinois, and saw the farmers who struggled with the heavy, sticky soil that clung to their cast iron plows. So he created the first ever commercially successful self-scouring steel plow. That is how this company was born, and ever since then, they have cultivated a reputation as the farmer's best friend through marketing slogans like, "Nothing runs like a Deere." Historical ads showcase the reliability and quality of John Deere products, seen as essential for successful farming. Older farmers recall a nostalgic appreciation for the brand, synonymous with trust and community support. But things are changing now. It is not the 1900s no more. John Deere is fighting against the farmers, their workers, and even the government, and there are actually 3 reasons why. Let me break it down for you. Profit versus people. See, just over the past decade, John Deere's revenue has skyrocketed from around $26 billion to over $52 billion. Yet during the same period, many farmers have seen their incomes stagnate or even decline due to rising costs and market volatility. What's even more galling is how the company's leadership is prioritizing shareholder value over the welfare of the very people who depend on its products. John Deere has poured billions into stock buybacks and hefty dividend payouts, while the CEO's salary has surged by a staggering 160%, reaching a whopping $17 million annually. Now, this is not a bad thing by itself, but you got to ask yourself this question. If the customers that are buying from them are struggling, how can the company that is selling them products thrive? Well, the truth is, farmers across America are finding themselves caught in a technological trap. Once masters of their own machinery, they now face equipment breakdowns that they cannot repair due to restrictive software locks imposed by John Deere, so that they can exploit their customers and make them come back and pay John Deere forever. These digital shackles prevent farmers from accessing basic repairs, forcing them to rely solely on John Deere dealerships for service. And it comes at a great cost and inconvenience, often resulting in devastating delays during critical planting and harvesting seasons. The root of the problem lies in the staggering complexity of modern agricultural machinery. Today's tractors are marvels of engineering, with some containing over 1 million lines of code. While this technology enhances efficiency, it has also created barriers for farmers who once managed their equipment independently. Consider the story of Tom, a Midwestern farmer who experienced a breakdown during the crucial planting season. Unable to address a minor issue himself due to software restrictions, he was left waiting for a dealership technician. This delay not only cost him valuable time, but also resulted in thousands of dollars in lost crops. Another farmer, Sarah, attempted to troubleshoot her equipment, only to find her stopped by software locks that rendered her attempts ineffective. In desperation, many farmers have resorted to hacks and workarounds, risking their warranties and facing potential legal consequences just to keep their operations running. So what's the solution? Well, the right to repair movement is gaining significant traction as farmers and consumers demand greater control over their equipment. Advocates argue that ownership implies the right to repair one's own property without interference from manufacturers. They point to the economic impact on local communities when farmers cannot maintain their machinery. Farmers have been attending rallies and protests, passionately advocating for their right to fix their equipment. Their message is clear. They want the ability to repair their own machines without being locked out by corporate policies. This movement has garnered support from a diverse coalition of advocates, including legal experts and politicians who recognize the far-reaching consequences. In response, John Deere has consistently defended its position, citing concerns over intellectual property protection and safety issues associated with unauthorized repairs. However, critics argue that the company's motivations may be more profit-driven than safety-oriented, pointing to the company's increased revenue from subscription services tied to maintenance and diagnostics. As the battle lines are drawn, the fundamental question remains: will farmers be able to reclaim their autonomy, or will John Deere's technological stranglehold forever alter the landscape of American agriculture? The decisions made today will echo through generations. The future of the heartland hangs in the balance, and the world is watching. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. So what's the second issue? Betrayals and abandoned promises. Across the Midwest, the sound of factory machines has been replaced by silence. John Deere has announced big layoffs, letting go of over 2,600 workers this year alone. In towns that used to depend on steady jobs at John Deere, families are now facing hard times. These are the real people behind the corporate numbers. The United Auto Workers Union, which represents many of the affected John Deere employees, has been fighting back. They've held protests and rallies, determined to stop the layoffs and hold the company accountable. These are good-paying jobs that support whole communities, declares the UAW president during a rally. The company is turning its back on the people who built it, all for greed and selfishness. The union has also threatened legal action, arguing that the layoffs go against their labor agreement. They say John Deere has a duty to keep a certain number of jobs in the U.S., and the mass layoffs break this promise. The consequences reach beyond the factories too. Farmers who rely on John Deere equipment now face longer waits and higher repair costs, as there are fewer experienced technicians available. But John Deere is sticking to its decision, saying the lower labor costs in Mexico are the reason for the move. By shifting production to Mexico, the company can pay workers up to 60% less, as well as face fewer environmental rules and taxes. This choice reflects a broader trend where companies chase profits with little care for American jobs. As work moves to Mexico, the impact hits local economies hard, leaving many worried about the future. Which brings us to the last source of issue: Trump's tariff against imports. At a rally in the Midwest, Donald Trump stood before a crowd of workers and farmers, saying, "We cannot let our jobs be taken away by companies that forget who built them." The crowd erupted in cheers, sensing a champion in the president's words. Trump was actually targeting John Deere. And if he said, "If John Deere doesn't keep its production in America, we will impose a 200% tariff on their products." Tariffs are taxes on imported goods, designed to make foreign products more expensive and encourage people to buy domestic alternatives. For John Deere, this could mean much higher costs for their machinery sold in the U.S., potentially leading to increased prices for the farmers who rely on this equipment. Some experts argue that while tariffs could save American manufacturing jobs in the short term, they may also hurt consumers and invite retaliation from other countries. A report suggests these tariffs could raise costs for U.S. farmers by $1 billion annually. On the other hand, trade analysts warn that if Mexico retaliates with tariffs of its own, American farmers could face higher prices for essential goods, further complicating their already tight financial situations. As the debate rages on, farmers find themselves in a difficult position. Many support Trump's efforts to protect American jobs, but they're also worried about how tariffs might affect their ability to afford the equipment they need. "I want to see American jobs protected," said one Iowa farmer, "but if I have to pay double for my tractors because of tariffs, how am I supposed to make ends meet?" Another farmer expressed frustration with both John Deere and Trump, saying, "We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We need affordable equipment to survive." As Trump's tariff threat looms over John Deere's production decisions, the political stakes grow higher. While the president's stance may resonate with voters seeking job protection, it also raises significant concerns about the economic consequences for farmers across America. The future of U.S. trade policy and its impact on the agricultural sector hang in the balance. Both sides are preparing for a contentious battle, with the livelihoods of farmers caught in the crossfire. So what now? Well, facing growing frustration from farmers over repair restrictions, John Deere has made a notable move by signing agreements known as Memorandums of Understanding with the American Farm Bureau Federation and other agricultural groups. These agreements aim to give farmers better access to important repair information, tools, and resources to maintain their equipment. Signed on January 8, 2023, the Memorandums of Understanding commit John Deere to provide farmers and independent mechanics with the diagnostic tools and manuals needed for repairs. This initiative recognizes the anger from farmers who have struggled to fix their own machinery due to strict corporate policies. However, many farmers are still skeptical. While these agreements promise more access to repair resources, they don't fully address worries about corporate control and the potential costs of using these tools. Farmers are concerned that even if they can get some diagnostic information, they could face high fees or subscription costs that limit their ability to make repairs on their own. As AFBF President Zippy Duval pointed out, buying equipment is a major investment. Farmers must have the freedom to choose where their equipment gets fixed or to fix it themselves. The uncertainty surrounding these agreements has not lessened the legal pressures either. Farmers are continuing class action lawsuits against John Deere for its restrictive practices. As other companies in the agricultural machinery market notice the demand for right-to-repair options, there's speculation about how this shift could change farmers' loyalty toward brands. Companies that genuinely offer repair services could attract farmers frustrated by John Deere's current policies. If competitors provide more flexible repair options and better support for independent mechanics, they might capitalize on the dissatisfaction with John Deere and gain ground in the market. This possible change in brand loyalty highlights the need to not only address current farmer concerns, but also to innovate in ways that prioritize customer service and farmer independence. In the end, while the Memorandums of Understanding are a step in the right direction for farmers, they are not a complete solution. The farming community remains alert, pushing for further changes that guarantee their rights and ability to maintain their equipment independently. As the agricultural machinery landscape evolves, both John Deere and its competitors must adapt to meet the needs of modern farmers who demand transparency, accessibility, and control over their operations. The future of brand loyalty in this sector will largely depend on how companies respond to these challenges in a more competitive market.